Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Beau again. So today, we're going to talk about Trump's meltdown over a Canadian TV ad and Reagan quotes. Look, I'm not one to call a Trump reaction a meltdown. It normally just comes across as sensationalist. But Trump completely crashed out over a TV ad featuring quotes from President Reagan about tariffs. The short version is that the Ontario provincial government ran an ad featuring some bits of Reagan trashing tariffs. In response to what would amount to a state-level TV ad in the U.S., Trump altered U.S. foreign policy. He took to social media and said, quote, "The Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs." Then added in mostly all caps, quote, "Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated." He canceled trade negotiations over a TV ad. He jeopardized the U.S. economy and trade relations over a TV ad. The weird part is that he seemed to be upset about people pointing out that Reagan's comments weren't compatible with Trump's trade policies. Now, the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute did in fact suggest the ad misrepresented Reagan's comments. Down below will be an unedited video of the address from the Reagan Library YouTube channel and a link to it in text version. I strongly suggest you watch or read it, but I'm going to summarize it real quick. In context, to me, Reagan's comments are even worse for Trump. Reagan starts off describing an upcoming visit with the Japanese Prime Minister. He then goes on to say he imposed new duties, and it was a step he didn't want to take, but this was a special case. He then went on to say he didn't want to start a trade war, and that he wants to work cooperatively and lift the trade restrictions. Then he said that he conveyed the same message to Canada. Then, and this is probably the part that made Trump lose it, Reagan goes on to talk about the historical reasons for opposing protectionist trade policies. Reagan talked about how people suggest that the Smoot-Hawley tariffs deepened the Great Depression and limited recovery. He talks about how tariffs seem patriotic at first, but they only work in the short term, that they stifle innovation at home. Then the tariffs lead to retaliatory trade actions, trade wars, more tariffs, and that it makes prices artificially high. Doesn't this all sound familiar? He says that eventually people stop buying and markets collapse, and then millions lose their jobs. He then talks about how he didn't want to use protectionist trade policy and fought against politicians who want to use tariffs for short-term political gain while risking America's prosperity. In context, it's actually worse than the ad. And now, because of his abject meltdown, more and more people will be exposed to something that honestly seems so on the nose. Some would believe it's AI creating a satirical video of Reagan saying Trump's economic policies are horrible. Trump's erratic and unstable economic policies are hurting Americans and people all over the world. Taking his ball and going home because of a TV ad is creating a new level of uncertainty. It's not going well. It's unclear if he'll actually cancel negotiations or this is more Taco Trump or Chicken and Waffles Trump. As I said, the links will be below since he thinks you should see the whole thing. It's only about 5 minutes. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.